Here is my Phillips coffee maker mechanism. I'm going to show you how to grease this thing the proper way and how to clean it. I purposely took mine I took it out of the coffee maker and thoroughly washed it with soap and water and then blew it dry with my air compressor. You can wash yours with soap and water and let it air dry, but this is how to grease it, and I'll show you how to grease it the proper way and what grease to use. But you mainly want to grease with a grease that is made for your coffee maker. This is a grease for Seiko and Phillips Espresso machines. Any grease that is pretty much not toxic will work. But I bought this off Amazon, which is the same that came with the coffee maker itself. But there's others out there that you can purchase. I have a brush to apply it, and I also have a bunch of Q-tips. You can apply it either way. But if you want to look at the mechanism itself, you can see you can push this thing up and down, up and then down. And let's look this over, and you can see in here you want to grease that because there's movement in there. And if I flip it around this way, same thing, you want to grease right there because there's movement in there. And then you want to grease this point right here. There's movement in here. This goes up and down. So you want to grease that spot a little bit. The most important part is this pin right here, this plastic pin. You want to apply grease on all four sides of this, top, bottom, left side, right side, and go in on that. And then the tracks is a very, very important one. And I'm going to take my Q-tip, purposely bend it a little bit, and I'm going to go in here, and this is the track that you're going to grease, but I'm taking it and just going up and down to clean the old grease out. And you can see how dirty that is. I'm going to take the other side and go up here. It's hard to see with the camera, but you can see there. So there's a track that goes from the top all the way down to the bottom that you want to grease, and it's on both sides, the left side and the right side. Here's the let me bend this a little bit. Right here you can see the grease, the old grease. I'm going to take another Q-tip, and you can, on the top part, you can slide it down and you can see the grease. So those are the main parts that you want to grease. So let me take my grease, open it up. I'm going to use a brush. I want to apply some grease on the brush. They don't give you a lot of grease. I want to first go in here and apply the grease in here. And this will lessen the noise that the machine makes and make your machine last a lot longer. Boy, they don't give you a lot of grease in here at all. Alright, just a good amount of grease on the brush. Let me flip this upside down and get in here. I want to do the other side again and get in there pretty good. And now let's do the outside mechanism. We'll do the track last. Okay, let me do the outside of this real quick. I barely have anything on this. And let me do the track now. The most important part, I'm going to use a Q-tip this time to do it. Put a good amount of grease on there. See? And I'm going to go do the upper track first. And there's actually like an inner part that goes out that way. I'm greasing as well. Up and down. Let me flip it over this way. Do it again. Right in there. All the way up and down. Now I'm going to do the bottom portion. I'm using the same Q-tip because it has some grease on it from before. Let's do the lower part. Flip it over. And let's do that part right there. You can see my Q-tip popping out on the other side, but I did that portion already. I'm just going to go over it again now and go all the way on top. Flip it over like this. Do this whole part here and here. And let's not forget the bottom pin. I might take a new Q-tip. I'm going to take a new Q-tip to this. Throw this dirty one out. Alright, let's do this. We're doing this part right now. This part right here. I'm actually going to do my brush instead. My brush. I'm going to use my brush, not the Q-tip. Let me get some oil on this. I'm going to do the top part first. You can see the grease. I'm going to go and do the top and right side at the same time. Go underneath. Let me get some more grease. They recommend doing this every so often, I guess every couple of months, to maintain the machine. If you were to do that, I'd buy more grease than what I showed you before, because you don't get a lot of use out of it. I'm going to just do the bottom part a little bit too. Now let's work the grease in and go up and down. Let's go up and down with this. All right, so to go over this again, I greased that part right there. I greased this a little bit around here. I didn't grease this side in here. I could just go alongside of it and grease it just a little bit with the leftover grease that I have. And I'll wipe it clean on the face of it. And then I greased these rails inside here from the top going down and then over the floor plate of it and underneath here. And when you flip it over, same thing on the bottom portion right here. It's hard to see right there. And then above the floor plate thingy on top of there. And then underneath this pin, plastic pin, gray pin, right there, I greased that as well. And that's pretty much done. And that's what you got. And this is what I used. And let me see here. I'm gonna clean the top part of this off. I use, they don't give you much, but I'm squeezing half of it out. So like half of this tube is left. So you probably only get 2 uses out of this tube, which is not a lot of use. But I didn't over grease it. You can, I also greased these yellow parts against the black part right in here too. Wherever there's plastic friction rubbing against each other, that's where you want to grease it. That's the main point. Objective here is whatever mechanism parts that are moving you want to do. There was one other part that I saw in here that I wanted to show you right here. You can see right when I line it up, you can see the inner part of the what would you call it? The inner guide rail that goes up and down like this. That point that's going up and down here is right there. So I'm gonna take my grease and purposely glob a thing of grease on here. And then let it work through. All right, and there you go. There you have it. That's how you grease your Phillips coffee maker. I hope this helped, and just make sure when you buy the grease, it's food safe, and buy enough of it. This little tube, which is I think 5 grams, is not a lot at all. There is 5 grams. 5 grams, not a lot of grease. And I use Q-tips and a little painter's paintbrush that's like a 1/2 inch wide. And you can use Q-tips. I mainly use Q-tips on this. So, and then here's all my dirty Q-tips that I use to get the old grease out. I hope this helped, ladies and gentlemen. So, any feedback, leave, and take care. Bye-bye.